Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway, because their slogan is Gateway's got it. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 148 of The Mom Game. I'm Emily Jones. She is Julie Dobbs. We are rolling into 2023 with a bang. Got a big show coming up today. Lots of guests that are going to help us get our shit in order.
Yeah.
We need help getting our shit in order.
I'm excited.
It's going to be a process. It's going to be a process.
I talked about this on the radio this week, how I try every year. Well, I feel like, though, I've made little steps each year, and that's all you can do.
Well, and I think, okay, so we'll get to our guests in just a little bit. We got some financial help on the way. Yes. We got some nutrition help on the way.
This is a great New Year's show.
It is. It's a great New Year's. It's a great show for the new year. Do you do New Year's resolutions?
No, I mean, I do, but I don't have like a concrete, these are my 5 resolutions, right, and I'm going to follow up at the end of the year and see if I did it.
Right.
What I do is like a step back to kind of reassess at the new year, because it's just a built-in.
It is a good time.
It's a built-in way. Yeah.
To say like, okay, what can I do? What can I do better?
What's working? What's not, you know kind of what you need to do. And sometimes you don't do it because you get so caught up in the rat race and you get caught up with day to day.
Yeah. But it's not like, oh, my resolution is to work out every day, or my work, that's not your thing.
Yeah.
Or even you're not setting parameters on it.
Right.
Or like a specific.
Correct.
thing.
Yeah. I did say to Kelly, I was like, I want to sit down when we have time, because one thing we've never really done, we have so many conversations or texts like, hey, I'm really wanting to get better at this. This is what, especially him, not to call him out, but like he'll make a list of like, these are the 5 exercises I'm going to try to do every morning or whatever. And then it just like fades off into the distance, and we'll have little ideas of what we want to do. Or like as a couple, we'll say, let's try to do X, this. Y, Z financially, or let's try to get here. But then we don't, like we've talked about with business world, a lot of times it's like you have these great ideas and you don't follow up, or you don't say, how am I going to get from point A to point B? And it doesn't happen. So one thing that I said to him this year is like, let's sit down and like talk through these things, and let's talk about what our goals are as a family, as a couple. What are our goals financially? What are our goals health wise? What are our goals for our kids? Where do we want to be? That kind of thing. And we haven't done it yet. He's been out of town a lot, but I do really want to do that with him, because it's something we don't do. And I think it could be very productive.
Yeah. And it's not something you have to start on January 1st or January 15th, or, that's something that, as long as you're making like a conscious effort and, decision to do that, I think that's awesome. Mm-hmm. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. What about y'all? Do you do New Year's resolution?
Not really. And I don't know that I really ever have. But they're very similar to you. Like there are things like, okay, I need to do, let's take a step back. Let's reassess what needs to get done at some point in time this year. It's just like any kind of goal setting or vision board creating or whatever. Have you ever done a vision board?
No.
Maybe we should do a vision board.
It's one of those things that my first instinct is to be like, a vision board, but maybe I do.
Same.
Like, what is it?
Vision board. I think you like cut pictures out of magazines and stuff
of like who you want to be. Like I put a picture of Giselle up there and be like, vision board for 2023.
I think they have like classes, like they have vision board instructors. We need to look into that.
Oh my gosh.
Give us a holler if you're a vision board instructor and you can come help us create a vision board.
We should at least make one for social media.
Maybe I'm confusing a vision board with a collage.
No, I think you're right though.
I feel like it's
like script, probably something too, like actually physically writing out and drawing out and seeing pictures of like what you want to attain.
Right.
Jane Slater, who was on our show, she's one of the reasons she talks about her vision boards.
Oh, she's got a vision board
on like Instagram. She's always talking about it.
About her vision board.
Yeah. But I think we should do TMG vision boards, at least on social media. Adam and Ashley could make us something cute.
Okay.
These are our TMG vision boards.
Somebody needs to tell us how to make a vision board. But no, I don't have any specific resolutions. Maybe my only one, and I've already shared this with you, is just to be more conscious of saying no. Like, I feel like I know it's hard for people to believe, but I really am kind of a people pleaser. When I'm not being a bitch.
Oh my God. Put that on another pillow. I really am kind of a people pleaser when I'm not being a bitch.
I mean,
the funny thing is I know exactly what you mean.
I
can tell and I know exactly what you mean, but it's a funny sentence.
Nailed it. So I feel like I say yes a lot of times to a lot of things that really they're not fulfilling to me personally. They're not fulfilling to my family. They're not fulfilling to my community. I'm just saying yes because I feel like I need to. And so that's one thing I'm trying to get better at. And I've already gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah. I've witnessed you put a lot of it into practice.
Of just saying like, no, that's not a good idea, or no, that's not the right thing for me, or that's not the right thing for my family.
You're probably bombarded even more. I'm not bombarded too much with things or do this or do that or opportunity to do this or work with me on that or come on this podcast or whatever it is. I imagine you have a lot of that, and it's a little bit hard to navigate, whether it's a fan or saying another writer, come on, can you help me with this or blah, 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 blah. Like that would stress me out.
Right. And then weighing things like, okay, is this thing that someone's asking me to do, is it, like I said, is it beneficial to me personally? Is it beneficial to my family? Is it beneficial to my community? Like I was reluctant. There's this thing called the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Visionaries of the Year. They used to be Man and Woman of the Year. They asked me to do it last year. I told them no because we were building the house and all that kind of stuff. So they revisited this year and they're like, will you do it?
They circled back on
They
you.
did. And you know what? And I was hesitant because I'm like, I've got a lot going on. But then I'm like, this is a chance to do something beneficial for my community, for someone other than, not just, it doesn't have to be fulfilling to me but is it going to do some good?
Yeah.
And so it's raising money for a very good cause with LLS and, focused on patient services. And I said yes to that. So I'm trying to pick things that make a positive impact on my family or on my community or on other people. I'm not just trying to be like a selfish bitch and be like, no, F you, I'm not doing anything. I'm saying no to everything. Like that's not what I'm trying to be like, but I'm trying to be more thoughtful in my decision making is what that
makes sense. And because a lot of times in the way society operates and people operate, it's like you feel like you need to answer immediately. And sometimes the easiest thing to do is say, yes, okay, yeah, sure. And then when it comes back to around,
and then you're like, oh, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, exactly. So no, I think that's a great New Year's resolution.
So I guess it's not saying no more. It's just being more thoughtful in my decision making.
Yeah.
So that's my resolution.
I think that's a good one. Yeah. I could definitely piggyback on that a little bit too.
Okay, 2023, new year, new kind of us. Yeah, we're just trying to get a little better. Trying to get better. Yeah. Just trying to get a little bit better. We've got three actually, very special guests coming up today. We're super excited about. They're brought to us by our friends at Herman Marshall Whiskey. My favorite whiskey for a hot toddy. I was sick over the break and my husband made me. Mike makes some good hot toddies with a little whiskey and some lemon and honey.
Did you say,
heat that up.
Could you please make me a hot toddy?
Oh my gosh, I do not talk in baby talk.
I know
when I'm
we
sick.
went through it on last week's show.
I know, but Mike does. Bless his heart. So we've talked about Herman Marshall, our partnership with them. We're super excited. Julie and company, all the guys from the Dub Network got to go out and visit the distillery, see how the whiskey is made, sample all the good stuff. And we're looking forward to their new facility that's opening in Wiley in just a couple of months. Got to see a picture of it last week and it looks amazing. It's going to be family friendly, kid friendly, concerts, all the fun stuff. And so they're doing a lot more than just whiskey, but they're doing whiskey really, really well. They've won awards. They're a local company that we're proud to be partners with. So big thanks to Herman Marshall Whiskey for being our friends and for bringing us our guests, plural, this week.
So we just had some New Year's resolution talk, Emily, and I thought for this episode, we need to call in some reinforcements. I'm here to tell you what I need to work on, but I'm not here to tell any of our listeners how to work on those things. So we have a few guests joining us today. We're going to start with the ladies of Ideal Balance, Shana and Vanessa. Hey guys, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. So I guess first of all, just tell us a little bit about what Ideal Balance is and how you guys started this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are not only business partners, but best friends. And we've been friends since our boys were 4. They are now 15, almost 15. And we decided to start a business on helping women get their lives under control and in finances and life and health. And so we just really bring that together with one-on-one coaching and group coaching as well.
And so you guys coach, you just said lots of different things, yes. Life and how to deal with probably like mom stress, mom life, what to prioritize, all of that. But you specifically today want to focus on finances. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. So we're certified through Dave Ramsey's program. We got certified several years ago, and we've kind of made it into our own, but we still, he's our close personal friend. We love him. He doesn't know that part, but so yeah, it's a big part. It's a big part of what we do. It's a big part of every mom. We just had a client saying that, moms, they lead the household. And so we just love to help them in this area because like you just said, you don't know what you don't know. So, so we just try to provide that a little bit.
So what was it in the beginning that led you guys to not just kind of help each other through these times as moms and as women, but that you wanted to help other people? What was it that you saw a need for there?
I think for me personally, it was I focus a lot on financial coaching, and I have a huge God story as to why I'm here and why we're doing this together. But for me, it's just math. And you can do it. It's not an unachievable goal. It's not some big audacious thing that people get scared about. If you just sit down and look at it and have somebody help you and hold you accountable to it, you can get it done. And I paid my mortgage off when I was 31. And at that point, I really was like, why me? And what is this going to do? How can I use this for good? And the whole thing was for me to help other people and show them how to do this. And so that's what I'm here doing.
Mm-hmm. So I know for me in like my family, I a lot of times just defer all the financial stuff to my husband because I maybe feel a little overwhelmed by it. Like you're talking about, I don't know what to do. I just want to make sure we can pay the bills and that we're saving some money and that we're like not in the red too much, if at all. So if you have somebody that's maybe just feeling overwhelmed with finances, what do you tell them? What are some quick tips? What can they do to just kind of take a step back and start focusing on this a little bit more?
Yeah, well, I love what Vanessa said. It's just math. And what so there's always one. So you're not alone. There's always the husband or the wife that are pretty much the caretaker of the finances, if you will. And the first thing you've got to do is just get it out all on the table, I think, and just face the music. We say with all of our goals, with all of these obstacles that we all face in every area, it's usually worse in your head than it actually is. And it doesn't have to be super complicated, and you can still let your husband kind of lead the way, but you can be part of it by just getting in there and looking at it all, getting it all on the table. There's a lot of times there's some hidden stuff here, not like hidden badly, but it's just like we don't have everything in front of us to see what the full picture is, and doing that. Now, the other thing to do is to couple that with vision, with being excited, with looking to the future. You guys got, especially if you're a couple, you got married, you have dreams, you're going to do this and that and the other. So we want to reconnect to that and see what is that exciting thing that's going to make you want to sit down and look at the numbers, right?
Yeah. What's your why?
Yeah. What do you tell people about debt?
Oh boy. Well, one of our favorite,
you want to know Dave's debt is dumb.
One of our favorite things to say is that, poor people manage their, or estimate their wealth based on their credit score, and wealthy people estimate their wealth based on their net worth. So debt is fine if that's what you feel like, but it's just not going to help you get ahead in life. It's going to, it steals from your paychecks. And
it's a weight, like it's constantly weighing over you. It's like this thing it's like a ball and chain, right? It's always following you everywhere you go. And if you can just eliminate that, like we have just seen so many clients feel so free by paying off their debt. We've had the people that want to get rid of everything and pay it off. And then we've had the people that, no, I still want to live life. I still want to take vacations. I still want to do this while paying off debt. And we've done it many ways based on what our clients want to do. And it's been successful both ways.
But also always the non-consumer or the consumer debt, right? The non-mortgage debt is always a small game. That's what I want to say. If you want to play big in life, and I don't mean big, but like Vanessa said, go on vacation, live your life out loud, then you don't have time for debt. Debt is going to weigh you and your paychecks and your cash flow down. So let's just get rid of it and not use it as a tool.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So what are you mentioned, kind of getting everything out in the open. My husband's in the mortgage business and he calls it getting naked with his clients. You've got
I like that.
that you've got to put it all out there so we can know, what we're dealing with. And so you mentioned that kind of as a first step is to get it out there, get it all on paper. And so what kind of follow-up steps can you do after you get all that out there?
Yeah. So the basic steps that we say is, like we said, we're going to assess where you're at. That's the point in getting it on the table. See what's really going on. And then we're going to cast the vision, like we said. But after that, then it's time to figure out your net worth, right? So that's your assets minus your liability. And then we're going to go from there. We're going to write out all the debts.
Going to make a budget.
Yeah.
The B word.
And then the B word, that's what we've heard it called, is the budget. I guess it's not obvious, but we operate with a zero-based budget, which means every dollar has a job. So we go through, list all the income, then we figure out your bills and your needs versus your wants and your expenses and your debt. And then what's left over is going to be targeted toward whatever your goals are in your life. But from there, what we really do is we have a lot of different ways that we like to make it less intimidating and less time consuming.
Mm-hmm. How did y'all get into this? Do you have backgrounds in finance, accounting, that kind of thing?
Well, we are certified through Dave Ramsey, and that's really where the knowledge and the jump start happened. But honestly, it was a lot of personal experience. We did Financial Peace University. We read all of Dave's books. And we just kind of figured, we could help you. If we can do it, we can help show people how to do it. And that's really where
I think that the origin story, if you will, is really kind of funny, because I don't remember how I got this book, but I got this book, Total Money Makeover. And my husband, so he read it. And I said, babe, you need to read this so we can do this. And he gave it back to me and said, basically we do. And I was like, okay, so we're all good. So I gave it to Vanessa. Now, listen, this is my husband who loves to buy cars. So we were not doing it, but the only debt we had was cars. So he assumed that was basically the same. Good. And so I gave it to Vanessa. She took it to the next level and went mortgage free. And then my husband and I actually went through FPU. We got completely debt free and got ready for him to retire from the military without having to immediately go get another soul sucking job. Not that the military was, but not that he didn't want to. So we were just so excited. And when you're excited about something, you can't stop. You can't shut up about it. Yeah. So then you just keep helping people. Yeah. And then you're like, maybe somebody will eventually pay me for this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And probably just having that real life experience and that passion, and then seeing as a mom, how many moms maybe struggle with all of it. I think it's crazy how many moms even within the elementary school or whatever, you can get so caught up in the rat race of wanting to have the car like everybody has and go to the same camps that every other kid is going to, and who's remodeling their house and which lot did so-and-so buy. It's so easy for moms to get wrapped up in that. So I'm sure that's a lot of what you guys are seeing is how to balance that kind of thing with saving for your future and being thrifty and budgeting and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, the game changer was I went to Europe for 3 months and came home, and we bought, I got married, bought the big house, bought the car, filled the house with rooms to go stuff, went to Bed Bath & Beyond and filled the house with that. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And so we downsized and bought a little bitty house on a half-acre lot. And we had this massive backyard, and I was happy. I was so happy in my little bungalow. And it was what I wanted. I had to go to Europe to realize this is who I was. This is what I wanted. I didn't want all the other things, it's not bad for other people. That just wasn't me. And it really helped us with our financial future. I mean, after we paid the mortgage off, then the doors opened to put our kids in private school. It was like the stepping stone that we had to figure out and conquer, and then move on to the next level of the next stage of our life.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say real quick, Julie, one of the things that I learned as I was getting debt free and being on our own budget was exactly what you're talking about. And we call it the mom envelope. So we have budget items, you have your budget category items, right? And what happens for moms is the kids stuff, there's no budget item for when
It's
the kids want to go.
limitless.
Everybody's going to ice cream because it's fundraiser night. And you're like, well, okay, I guess that'll come out of my money somewhere that I'll find it, pull it out of somewhere, right? So one thing that we like to do is, and I would recommend to your listeners, is to implement that mom fund and set a budget to it, right? So this is all of the extras, the birthday parties that they want to go to, all the things.
Classroom activities.
Figure out a line item or an amount like $200 or less or whatever, wherever you're at in your budget. And then that is a cash envelope that you can always turn to when those moments come up, because that is stressful. It's like, where am I can't keep coming up with all this money. But then also know, like, okay, Johnny, it's always Johnny when it's a kid, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you can either have this money for ice cream or you can go to that birthday party. You choose, or this is where we're at. It's not that we don't have money, but we're choosing that this is how we're doing it.
Like that.
Right? So that's such a good way to do it and keep it within like contained somewhat.
Well, and I think vocabulary, like the way that you speak to your kids about money, I think this is really important. We're very big on instilling financial literacy at a young age, but it's how you do it. You never tell kids we can't afford that. We have no money. We can't do this. We're broke. You just have to say, we are choosing to not do this because we're doing this, or we are deciding we're not going to do that right now because we're going to do it later. So there's just so many things that you can say in the house to make, to make sure your kids have a healthy relationship with money as they grow up.
Yeah.
And how different for you guys? Like, so, you have certified financial planners, like those are, there's a gazillion of those. It seems like y'all are trying to offer a different type of service that obviously is geared specifically toward women, but also too offers another layer of, of this whole, financial process when it comes to, being a mom and being a wife, or even being a single woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, we're kind of the step before. I would say we're the step before certified or going to see a financial advisor. Yeah. But there's so much to do before you start investing. Not that you need to necessarily wait, but you really need to get your finances in order. And that's what we do to help them so that they can go, because you don't want to go to an advisor and be like, I'm going to invest $500 a month or $1,000 a month. And then 2 months down the line, you can't anymore because your budget is,
or you need to take it out,
or you have to take it back. That's happened so many times. So that's bad. So, and what we do, there's a lot more to it than the budget. We also help you set up an automatic bills account, which, we have a freebie that we can kind of help walk your listeners through. But to set up a bills account where only the bills are coming out of that, where you have a certain amount of designated, because one of the things that we know is like NSF fees, banks make billions of dollars. That's their most profitable thing is NSF fees every year. And so we like to help you automate and systemize your finances so that, one, you're not obsessively checking your bank account constantly. You're not like, am I allowed to purchase by looking at your purchase? It's not okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that's one of the things we do. We also set up automatic transfers for anything else that's important, your savings, your grocery money, like all kinds of stuff. So it's a whole system. And that's like before you get to the advisor.
Yeah, we implemented this. It's funny, like I did it on my own and then she did it. And then when we came together, we're like, oh, you're doing this? Oh, so am I. This is the best thing that's ever happened to us. Mm-hmm. And so when we decided, okay, what is this system in its entirety, we decided to implement it with coaching. And every single one of our clients were like, why haven't I been doing this for years? It's just a game changer. And like she said, we have separate accounts that do specific things. Mm-hmm. And, one that allows you to go grocery shopping and get gas. The other one is just like Shana said, just for bills. And so you don't confuse the two, and you know exactly how much money is in there and what its job is doing. And you don't have to second guess when you go to the store.
Yeah. I love it. A lot of the stuff y'all are saying is hitting home, I think, for us, for other moms listening. So if people want to track you guys down, where can they go? What do they need to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. myidealbalance.com is our website. And we also have our Instagram is at myidealbalance. And we also have a worksheet. You guys will hopefully attach it to the show notes. It's a workbook that can help them go through. It's ck.myidealbalance.com/bank account.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. And this is such a perfect time. I feel like everyone tries to kind of reset in the new year, start some new good habits, maybe get rid of some old bad ones. And so we appreciate you guys joining us and giving us your insight and providing a little fire under our bottoms to get these financial houses in order. So thanks so much, you guys. We appreciate it. And Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Happy New Year. Thanks, guys.
And it is guest galore here on the Mom Game today. New year, kind of new us, maybe trying to get a little better at some stuff. Trying to get our financial house in check. Now we're going to try to get our waistline health in check. And here to help us do that is Shelley Loving, the creator of this cookbook called What's on Your Fork, which aligns perfectly with the Mom Game because we have What's on Your Feed. And today it's What's on Your Fork. But Shelley, first of all, just tell us a little bit about your background, where you got into nutrition, all this kind of stuff. And just a little bit of your backstory.
Yeah. So briefly, my husband and I got married in 13. In 14, he almost died on Super Bowl Sunday of a massive heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
He was 41.
Oh, wow.
And so when that happened, it just kind of like made us reassess life. We ended up, our youngest son graduated in May of 15. And in June or August of 15, we sold everything we owned. We bought a RV. We sold our belongings. We sold 2 of our 3 businesses, and we took off for a year and just stopped life. And when we stopped life, I'm a teen mom. I had my oldest son when I was 17, so I've never done me. So it was also good for me when my husband got a second chance at life. We'd let's just reassess everything. Mm-hmm. And so when we went to Florida for a year in our RV, I really got to understand what was important, right? And when that happened, I started turning to food to try to heal my husband from this heart damage that he had. Instinctively, I'm like, what are we eating that's not right? What do I need to do? So I got so passionate about it because I had all this time on my hands now, which I'm so blessed that I got to do that for a year.
Okay, wait, right fast. A year, you take off a year, your whole family?
No, my husband and I.
Just your husband.
Yeah,
okay,
all 3 of our kids are grown and gone.
Okay, grown and gone. Okay, you look good, girl.
Oh, you're sweet. That's what happens when you have a kid in high school.
I was just about to say.
What happens when you eat right?
You were 17 when you had your first. I was twice your age when I had my first, 34.
Yeah, so you either live before kids or you live after kids,
You're right. It's such a great point.
So now I'm living
in between, it's just a blur. It's just a black area.
Right.
Just a dark spot. I mean, it's great.
Cheers to that.
Just kind of a dark
Good for
spot.
you.
So
Good for you.
I've done it. I have the T-shirt. Yeah, raised the kids. We're
in the RV.
And so now we're in the RV, and I started cooking healthy, but I didn't know what that meant, right? I got on Google, heart healthy recipes, and then I started realizing how contradictory it was. And I decided to go to school. So I went to 2 nutrition schools. I ended up in a culinary school because once I learned the nutrition part, I'm like, well, now I need to learn how to make it in the kitchen. So, and I didn't want to start teaching other people and be like, here's what I know, but I didn't go to school or anything. It's just, so I decided to go to school to, number 1, help my husband heal. And number 2, I thought, once I started learning all this, I'm like, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about the power of food and how much control it has over your health. No one's starting in the kitchen when they think about health. They start about annual doctor visits. They start about going to the dentist. They don't talk about the gym. Yeah. They don't talk about what are you eating at 2 p.m.? What are you drinking on in the carpool line? They don't talk about that.
Right.
So I started getting real passionate, and that's when I created my business. And my husband now, everybody asks me because I don't follow up. I'm terrible. He has never been healthier. In his last EKG, he's supposed to go every once a year, but he hasn't been in 18 months. The last EKG he had, the doctor said, you're in the 1% of my patients. I cannot even tell you had a heart attack. You have reversed all the damage. What are you doing? And my husband's like, my wife does this and this and this. And he's like,
good wife.
No kidding. Wow.
But then you know what the craziest thing about this is that I was healing myself and I didn't know I was sick. Mm-hmm. I had all these underlying tiny symptoms that most of us have that we don't think about. Dull headaches, lack of energy, splotchy skin, yellow eyes, joint pain, all those things like brain fog. I had major brain fog. And when I started eating, because when I was making him, I'm like, well, shit, I got to make that too, right? I need to eat it. So when I started eating the way that I was learning, I'd never felt better. And ironically, my husband and I weren't overweight, but we could have lost a few pounds probably. And we both lost 15, 20 pounds, and we weren't even trying to lose weight. I was just trying to heal him, right? My mission was we'd been married 10 months. I wanted to heal my husband. He was my best friend. And so that's what happened. And so when I started healing myself, that's when the light bulb went on, and I was like, there's something to this. Mm-hmm. Here I am trying to fix him, and I'm feeling better. Like, what is going on? No, more people need to know this. And so that's why I do what I do.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us.
Yeah.
Tell us all the secrets. Come on. I want to feel great.
I know. So like my full focus is number 1, no dieting. It's crap. Why in the world are we restricting our bodies from fad, doing these fad diets where in 10 years from now we realize how much damage they cause, right? So my whole focus and what my focus was when I was trying to heal Neil, was to focus on inflammation. So the premise of my entire teachings and what I've been doing for 8 years is teaching people to really focus on an anti-inflammatory diet. Because without chronic inflammation in our body, disease does not exist. Most disease is created from chronic inflammation. So for example, cancer. Cancer usually takes 10 years for it to manifest into symptoms because our body is constantly fighting this chronic inflammation. And when it can't fight the inflammation anymore, the cells start getting weak and they start breaking down. When that I'm not getting sciencey on you because I'm not a science guru at all. But what I'm trying to tell you, like on an elementary level, what happens when disease creeps into your body. You're fighting chronic inflammation, and when you can't fight it anymore, your body breaks down. So when your body breaks down, that's when you're susceptible to everything from colds and allergies to disease. So my whole premise is let's start from the very beginning. Let's tackle the chronic inflammation so our bodies can do what they're supposed to do. This is a beautiful mechanism that God gave us. Beautiful. And it's designed to work hard for us. But when we feed it crap, it's going to deliver crap back. It can only fight for so long. So my whole premise is keep the inflammation down so your body can fight off the things that actually come its way. When you're fighting chronic inflammation, you can't fight that and colds and flus and corona and disease and chronic conditions and autoimmune diseases. We can't fight all that when we're constantly fighting the inflammation. So if we, and chronic inflammation comes from many things, sorry. It's not just what we eat. Toxins in the air, lack of sleep, stress, all of that crap causes chronic inflammation. But the one thing we can control, the one thing out of all that we have 100% control over is what we put in our mouth every single day. So if we start with that, give it time, let the inflammation go down, see what your body does, and go from there.
So how do you usually I want to get back to fixing us, but
just fix me, please. If you could just fix me and then Julie.
We all need the fix.
One or the other first.
How do you usually work with people? What is the concept or whatever? Are you a nutritionist? And then how does that work?
Yeah, so I don't do one-on-one work at the moment. I started out my business trying all different avenues and I didn't know what would work. One-on-one did not work. People don't do the work. So my whole thing is I have two facets to my business. Number one, I teach virtual healthy cooking events and classes to corporations all over the world. So people like Ameriprise Financial, Texas Capital Bank, Ernst & Young, they hire me to teach them virtually, their employees, how to cook healthy in their own home. And then those employees, I'm part of their wellness program. So their employees get discount on their insurance and things like that.
Oh, cool.
So that's the first facet of my business. That's my favorite part because I get to touch so many people all over the world, literally, because there's several companies that are global that I work for. My other part of my business is I have personal classes online. I do group events. I'm launching an app in February where it's just you can pay monthly or pay yearly and you get unlimited resources to the basics of healthy cooking. There's one thing to say, here's a meal plan, here's a recipe, here's what you should and shouldn't be eating, but who's actually rolling up their sleeves and teaching people how to do it? Here's how you make chia pudding. Here's why you make quinoa and what it's good for and what you can put it in. Here's how to save time with your meal prep. Here's how to save money with your meal planning. So who's actually rolling up their sleeves and doing the work? I feel like there's a niche that's being missed. And so that's what I do. And 90% of it is virtual.
Yeah.
My husband and I have a 53 acres out in Van Alstyne. I don't know if you know where that is.
Yeah.
North of McKinney. And I do in-person events 3 or 4 times a year and women come together and we have wine and we cook in my kitchen and it's just magical. It's magical because when people are able to roll their sleeves up and I show them physically in person that it's not hard and it's not time consuming, they have all these aha moments and I get teary every time women come to my house because it's not
That sounds cool.
difficult.
Right. And I did a boot camp with a woman who used to teach, she still does teach fitness classes, Sharon Jackson in Fort Worth, and she's amazing. And she did this 6-week, challenge, and you had a recipe book and all that kind of stuff. And it taught me so much that I still carry to this day of just not necessarily depriving yourself or anything like that, but do this rather than this, or just this is how to, healthy, whole foods, all that kind of stuff that it really stuck with me. Now, granted, I still eat like shit sometimes.
It's okay. We all do.
But I feel like it just taught me a lot about, even little stuff like, how your body breaks stuff down and what it breaks down, how it breaks down different stuff differently, and fuel for it and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, again, that was 6 weeks and it was great. It opened my eyes. I still don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Sure.
But it did teach me some basic things that I feel like stuck with me, that like, okay, instead of getting, this, I'm going to get that. And I can't even think of a scenario, but I mean, and it's not even obvious ones. Like, of course, vegetables over French fries is probably a very logical choice.
But how about white rice over quinoa? Right. Quinoa over white rice.
Right.
Like
different things like that. Right. And then all that kind of stuff that it really does. It opens your eyes to
it does.
just, and like you said, it's not that hard, but you kind of need somebody to.
You do. And accountability, right? That's why I do group things. Like I have a thing at the end of January 23rd through the 27th. It's $1 and it's all virtual. And it's 5 days of me teaching you, let's just start from the beginning. Let's start from the very beginning. And every day I give you 15 to 20 minutes of a video of explaining, here's what you do. And then I apply it in the kitchen. So it's if anybody wants to do it, they can. It's online, shelleycanhelp.com/January. But it's just a way, just like that program you're talking about, it's a way for me to tap on your brain like a water drop when you're being tortured. Hey, guess what? It's time. Like, have you eaten your greens twice today? Well, how much water are you drinking? Are you doing any meal prepping and planning at all? Like, are you guaranteeing that your kids get at least a couple of healthy meals a week? Are you getting your child in the kitchen and teaching them how to put grapes in a Ziploc bag so when they want a snack, they just go in there and grab it themselves? It's empowering. Yeah. So like, I always want to just be that reminder. And so I often do events like that, challenges, 4-week things, 2-week things, because it is a constant reminder. It's a journey. It's not a destination. We don't just learn something and we're like, okay, we got it now.
Yeah.
No, those bad habits creep back in, and Chick-fil-A creeps back in, and life creeps back in. And there should be no guilt with that, though.
Yeah. But you mentioned I feel like I have all kinds of snacks in my pantry, like grab
goldfish.
and go. Yeah. So much goldfish, so much pirate's booty.
Zero judgment.
But like to have, if you can have, like, even I remember for a while we got at Costco, there was like the little apple slices, the prepackaged apple slices. Like if you can have little stuff like that, I need to be better about that.
And what Shelley will say, I bet you can buy the apples and slice them yourself.
But then don't they get brown? My kids,
I do that too. No, it's so tempting to just grab it, and then I stop and I'm like, I can do this myself.
Now you do know if you core, do you have one of those cores?
Yeah.
Where you just slice it down.
I love
Keep it all intact. Keep the core in it. Wrap a rubber band around it, and it won't turn brown.
Ooh.
Put it in a bag.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fascinating. I didn't know. It's like that's like the avocado with the guacamole, the avocado seed. Yeah.
So many there's so many things that I want to ask about, and I have a couple of them.
Go for it.
The first one, you mentioned kids. Like, how related do you think kids' nutrition and food is to their behavior?
Everything.
Really?
Everything. Think about it. So food is fuel. Food is energy. Food is mental health. Food is microbiome. So they call the gut the second brain. Everything starts in the gut, even your mental health. It doesn't start up here. It starts in your gut. So what you're feeding your body is telling your body and giving it signals on how it's going to react, how it's going to behave, how it's going to think, process. So yes, food is everything when it comes to mental health, kids' behaviors, 100%. If you're giving them boxed cereal in the morning, what do you think their behavior is going to be an hour from then when they get to school? Their sugar's going to crash. They're going to get irritable, just like we do when we have a sugar crash. If we have a big, piece of cake at a party or whatever, you're like, yeah, and an hour later you're like, oh, I either want more or I'm tired.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, it's everything.
Would you say, like, in a perfect world, they would really have no sugar?
No, I wouldn't.
Just low amount, or
just not white sugar.
Yeah, white sugar.
Let's stay away from the white refined sugar. Honey is okay. Maple syrup's okay. Coconut sugar's okay. A little bit of monk fruit is okay. But giving kids these foods that are processed that have white sugar in them. So anytime you see a food label, my biggest soapbox in my whole business is read the ingredient list.
Yeah.
But before you buy a food for your children or for yourself, take the 5 seconds, put your cart to the side, flip it over, and see what's in the damn food.
Okay.
If you don't recognize it, or if the first 3 ingredients is sugar, corn syrup, or a refined oil, I could talk on a whole topic. We could do a whole podcast on oils. Put
You
it
need your own
back.
podcast.
I know.
Seriously.
Put it back on the shelf. So just be cognizant of what you're putting in your body by reading the food label. Stop looking. I get so passionate about this. Stop looking at the nutrition facts. We don't care how many calories and carbs it has. Why do we care about that? We need calories. We need carbs. We need to know what's in the food. What are we consuming? What are we feeding our children? Like long term, that's why there's a rise in so many things. Alzheimer's, dementia, all of these things are not just caused from the air.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, no, I thought of something else, but I'm going to go back to the other thing that I was going to ask.
Go for it.
Before I go to that thing that I just thought of. So allergies,
everything.
gluten. And this is about me specifically, but I feel like a lot of people.
So many.
I was diagnosed with celiac I guess it was almost 4 years ago now, after I had my second baby. Something changed, and all of a sudden, stuff that I was normally eating was making me quite sick. And I worked through that, and I felt like I got to a good place, and now it's like back. And so I'm starting to think maybe dairy too, but not even specifically to me, but are you seeing a rise in all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
or is
for
it
sure.
more just people caring, or?
It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's both for sure. I follow a ton of healthy, holistic, you called them, on one of your podcasts, you called them something really funny. Not gypsy. You said, I'm getting into
Like hippie?
Hippie, thanks.
Yeah.
So I follow a lot of hippie people on
that one,
social.
yeah, I was talking about wearing flax.
Yes, you are. Yeah, that's awesome. And I was thinking flaxseed. I was totally thinking about flax seeds.
Yeah.
I was like, she's talking. Oh, it's a clothing brand.
Yeah,
That's
there's
cool.
a brand called Flax.
But no, I follow so many hippies on social in the best way possible.
Yes.
But one guy was talking about how gluten, it hasn't always been bad, but in our country specifically, and the way they use glyphosate and everything, it has created this horrible epidemic with gluten. And so we just have to shift. It's not what it was in 1800. It's not what, yes, they ate bread, but it's so, their grains were so different back then. Everything now has been genetically modified. Everything now has pesticides on it. And so it's causing all these problems, and a gluten allergy is one of them. And so gluten now today in 2023, wow, that's weird to say that.
Yeah.
It just causes inflammation. So whether you have a sensitivity or an allergy, or if you have celiac, which is the worst case scenario of gluten, just stop or limit. And even when I tell people, if you don't have an allergy, just how much gluten are you eating? How much pasta, bread? Gluten is only 3 things. People are like, they think it's everything. Like people think it's rice and oats, and it's not. It's wheat, barley, and rye. That's it. If it doesn't have wheat, barley, or rye in it, it does not have gluten. So just be aware of how much you're eating. Did I answer your question?
Yes, very
Okay.
well. And then dairy too. I feel like,
Same.
and I'm hearing more of like, my kid can't have dairy, or dairy allergy, or my baby, or my toddler, or me.
Yeah. Can I give you my
let's
opinion
talk
on dairy?
dairy.
So let me, I'm going to be very elementary, and that's how I teach. So I don't want you to think I'm talking down to you.
We need elementary. Trust me.
I am not a dietitian. We need registered dietitians, but I specifically don't want to be one because I don't want the science approach. I want to talk to you like we're moms having wine, and that's how I teach. So just bear with me. So think about cows, and we live out in the country, and we're surrounded by dairy farms, and I see it all the time. They have babies all the time, but these tiny little calves grow into a 1-ton animal within like 6 to 8 months. Why? How? Because they're drinking what? Milk. That milk is meant to grow a cow into a 1-ton animal in 8 months.
Never drinking milk again.
Do you think that we're supposed to consume that on a daily, multiple times a day in this country? Habit? No, we're not supposed to consume it like that. I'm not telling people, I'll never tell people don't eat XYZ. I'll never do that.
Yeah.
But I want to just bring awareness.
Right.
Like,
That makes
how
sense.
much dairy are you consuming? Because it's in everything.
And how crazy was it that I remember when I was growing up and my mom would be like, you have to drink that cup of milk.
Which drives me crazy.
Every night at dinner, she'd be like, you
I know.
cannot get up from the table. And I would be like, gag it down. Like, I could not stand milk.
I know. Yeah.
And she would make me drink it.
Got milk.
Yeah,
I mean, giant
Well,
campaign.
the dairy. Oh, and who controlled that? We won't go there. I can.
Government.
I am cracking up at the big pharma thing, y'all. I
Big Pharma.
I can't. I was crying. I listened to that one I listened to it a few months ago, or whenever it came out. But then, like last week, I listened to your follow-up best of, and you put it in there, and I'm like, no way.
Big
I was
Pharma.
dying. But
Pharma.
anyway.
She had strong feelings
Got
about
milk.
it, but she didn't know what those feelings were. She's like, I know I'm supposed to feel something about
Let's
this.
feel
Just
good.
talk about it, and I don't like it.
Big
Yeah.
Pharma's.
So, and I don't want to go into that either, but got milk. enough said. And it stuck with everybody for decades and decades and decades. And I'm not here to bash the milk industry at all. I'm just here to tell you, be aware, because we're the only species that drinks another species' milk. We're also because giraffes don't drink elephant milk. And I'm also here to tell you that no other species drinks milk after infancy. You don't see a 5-year-old elephant drinking his mom's milk. It doesn't happen. So why are we at 40 and 50 years old eating cheese and yogurt? And I mean, it's in everything. I could go on forever, the list of things that dairy's in. So just be aware. Be aware of how much you're consuming, because it's inflammatory.
Question on that. So I don't drink regular milk or cow's milk. And I don't know why. Maybe it was at some point in the course of life, I just stopped drinking cow's milk, and I'll drink, but it doesn't mean I don't eat. I eat whiz out of some cheese.
Who doesn't eat cheese, right?
But when I get my latte every morning, I was going through this whole thing about, do I get soy milk or coconut milk and now I'm settled on oat milk, but I'm on oat milk now, but I was on soy milk, and I remember having like dinner with some girlfriends, and they flipped out when I told them I was drinking soy milk. They're like, you're not supposed to be drinking soy milk. I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah, there's so many options.
I know.
Right.
So many options.
So I was like, help me with fake milk.
I know. Just do what you want. Soy can be inflammatory. Okay. So that would probably be my least favorite non-dairy milk.
Okay, that's why I'm on to oat.
Yeah. Oat is great.
Coconut really good.
Oat's great. Coconut's good. Now, when you're buying, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but when you're buying your groceries, still read the ingredient list, because some of these non-dairy milks are putting a bunch of crap in their milk, like gums and preservatives and even sugar. And so just be careful. Read the label.
Yeah. There
are some good brands out there, and you need to. For this type of thing, like this is what we put in my husband and I put in our coffee, and what I cook with is non-dairy milks. But we go to Whole Foods just because we know we're getting good stuff. But you still have to read the label. I mean, Whole Foods has crap too.
I know. I need to tell you about Scout. Do you know about Scout and Cellar Wine?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right. Okay. All right. She already knows.
I know. I love it. We could go on and on and on and on and on, and I'm super excited to read the recipe book. But a couple hot topics for moms. Quick takes. You've mentioned wine, so you're not can't have wine person.
Oh, heck no.
And coffee. What are your thoughts on wine and coffee?
All over it. Here's my take on eating healthy and as a huge umbrella.
Okay.
I'm all about balance. So I try to do an 80-20 rule. Sometimes it's 70-30, but 80-20 is a good place for me. It's a safe place for me. And so I tell people my philosophy for myself, and this is what works for me. Everybody's different. So individuality is what I preach, because figure out what works for you. But what works for me is I tell people, try to plan your week moments. If you know you're having girl time Thursday night, wine and cheese and all the charcuterie crap, what about Monday through Wednesday? Eat great. Get a lot of greens, hydrate, all of that stuff. So on Thursday, you can have your week moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because know it's inevitable.
Yes. Or if Wednesday night is game night and you're not going to cook, Monday and Tuesday, maybe try to throw together a quick healthy meal. Or maybe give your kids healthy snack that you're not feeding them goldfish. No, I'm not knocking you. Okay. Everybody eats goldfish. And so that's kind of my philosophy, is the 80-20 rule. And so for me personally, my 20% rule is wine. I am a red wine drinker. I have a glass a night every single night. On the weekends, it's more. And I'm okay with that, because I know I'm feeding my body, on the flip side, things that it needs, right? And so if your weakness is a Coke, have it in moderation. Have one a week, have one a month, whatever your balance is and what works for you. And I agree. I think that with anything, whether it's wine, coffee, whiskey, whatever that is.
Seems like something that is sustainable.
Yes.
To say never do this.
And that's what I think people are looking for.
I don't do any of that with anything.
Yeah. Okay. I did want to ask before we let you go, and this is kind of putting you on the spot, but if you, and I know you said you never tell people don't eat this or don't eat that, but if there were 3 things you could, especially for kids.
Sure.
Not like you mentioned, the refined or the white sugar, right? White sugar. Maybe a couple more of those, just try to limit that as much as possible. Yeah. And then what are what are our anti-inflammatory, top 3
foods to eat? Ooh, I like that. I'm glad you asked that. So top 3 things to avoid, whether you're a child or an adult. I have 4, if that's okay.
Sure.
Dairy, gluten, white sugar, and refined oils.
Okay.
So it's not just what you're cooking. It's not the oils that you're cooking with. It's the oils that are in the foods. So flip the box over. Box of wheat thins, canola oil. Planters peanuts, palm oil. Like you want to avoid, those oils are synthetic. They're made in a factory. They go through 9 steps in a factory, and 3 of them are bleaching. 2 of them are deodorizing. So it's not food. It's not food. So it's not just about what are you putting in the pan when you're making a meal. It's what the oils in your food are. So when you get a snack for your kid at the grocery store, flip the box over and see if there's refined oils in it. Okay. If it is, put it back on the shelf.
Okay. Dairy, gluten,
white sugar, not just sweets, white sugar in particular, like corn syrup. And then anything on a box that says sugar. If it just says sugar, it's not healthy.
And then
refined oils, which are seed oils, vegetable, canola, palm, sunflower. Yeah, that's most of it.
Okay, and then
the 3.
Yeah, let's hit some. Give me some.
So I'm going to give you categories because so many anti-inflammatory foods. Any type of leafy green vegetable. Anything that's leafy green is beautiful and good for you. Any cruciferous vegetable, that's like the rough and tough things, broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, Brussels sprouts, all of those things that get stuck in your teeth, really anti-inflammatory. Berries, blueberries in particular, they are like top of the list, most antioxidant rich berry you can eat. Here's a little side note to that. If you're buying berries, get organic. The reason is they have a thin skin. I don't buy everything organic. But if you're going to buy organic, berries is at the top of my list because they have a thin skin and those pesticides permeate right through them. So always get organic berries.
Okay, that's a good tip.
Berries, leafy green vegetables, things like antioxidant rich foods is what I really focus on. Anything from the coconut oil, coconut shavings, coconut milk, all super anti-inflammatory. Honey, super anti-inflammatory. Cinnamon. I'm thinking of things that you would put in recipes a lot or that you would top things with in the morning. Like if you're going to make your kids some oatmeal or something, put cinnamon, put honey, all anti-inflammatory. But leafy greens is up there. And then nuts and seeds, super anti-inflammatory. And if you like them at all, consume them as much as you can. But before you buy them, make sure there's no refined oil in them.
Okay. Got it.
Awesome. I love it. Okay. And tell us a little bit about this cookbook and kind of, because I see in here, like you can take notes there's tips, and you mentioned before we went on the air, everything was dairy-free, gluten-free. So tell us about this bad boy.
Yeah. So when I started Shelley Can Help, that's my business. When I started it, I told myself within 5 years, I want to write a cookbook. And I did not know what that meant, and I was so clueless. And then 4 years later, here she is. And I wanted it to be more than a cookbook. So I like the paperback the best because you can write in it. I put a note section in almost every recipe because what if you don't like bell pepper? I want you to be able to scratch that out and write what you do like.
Love it.
I want you to take notes because in almost every recipe has tips. Like here's why I put this ingredient in here,
so
and
here's learn as you go.
So it's almost like a food journal / cookbook, but it's over 100 meal ideas, all anti-inflammatory, gluten and dairy free.
Awesome.
I love it. And where can people find you, reach out to you, all that fun stuff, and get the book?
Yes. So you can get the book on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com. It's called What's on Your Fork. And thank you.
What's on your fork?
And I'm everywhere Shelley Can Help, and it's Shelley, Shelley. ShelleyCanHelp.com. All the social medias. I'm exhausted. Social media is exhausting.
Yeah,
you're doing all of it yourself?
Doing all of it.
Oh,
well, I create the content and I have someone do it for me. But yes, I'm starting to delegate.
There you go.
Lots of podcasts have taught me to delegate. And then if anybody wants to do my little $1 5-day challenge, you can go to ShelleyCanHelp.com/January. It's going to be all virtual, about 15 to 20 minutes a day of just me motivating you on how to start this journey with me.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Last question, because we talk a lot about like life, career, finding something you love, doing things that matter. How fulfilling has all this been for you to turn this into a career? I can tell how passionate you are about it, and it's changing people's lives.
Yeah. So anytime I'm interviewed, or actually I was on Today in Nashville back in October promoting the book on NBC, and I got teary every time I get interviewed. You're gonna make me cry. I love it.
Well, I already cried
I love
earlier,
what I do because my best friend almost died, and I want to help people, right? I don't want this to happen to people. And it happens every day. You hear of people having massive heart attacks. You hear of people in their 30s dropping dead. And it's no one's talking about how to fix it other than pills and surgery. And I'm tired of it. This is all preventable. And we just don't know what we don't know. And like Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. So
I love it.
yeah, thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
That's something I'm noticing too, right? It's like, why is all this
Food
stuff
is
happening?
everything.
So this is great. I'm super excited to read it and to start trying these
Thank y'all for
recipes
having me.
chatting
And I
with
love
you
that
more.
the tagline is easy, healthy
It is.
meals for everybody because I'm not participating if it's not easy.
know-
So yes, thank you.
Hey,
for
and
that.
if y'all ever want to talk about something specific with food, just have me back and let's
Okay.
just dive in.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. You
Okay.
can be our
Okay.
resident
You're
food
awesome.
expert.
Let's do it.
That's
we
it.
don't have one.
Okay.
Thank
all right.
y'all.
Shelley, you know how we end the mom game. You got to look into your camera, which yours is straight
All right.
ahead.
Yeah.
Flash up the peace signs and say mom game out. It's 2023. We're still doing this, but
We're going to do it forever.
What are we saying?
Forever.
Mom game what?
mom game out.
We're going to do it till
Out.
2050.
Mom game out. Ready?
Yeah.
Until 20 what?
50.
Okay. Well, that's aggressive.
I like this.
All right. Here we go. In the count of 3 and 3, 2, 1.
Mom game out.